According to Maran and Shulchan Aruch, one may only use an alcoholic beverage other than wine for Qiddush on Shabbat day in a place where wine or grape juice is not available. However, the custom of many Ashkenazim is to be lenient and to use other alcoholic beverages for Qiddush on Shabbat day, even in a place where wine or grape juice is available. This custom dates back to the 14th century, when the Agudah, a halakhic authority from Germany, was lenient with this. The custom was recorded by Mahari Wheel in the 15th century in Germany. Furthermore, Rabbi Shlomo Luria, otherwise known as the Maharshal, used to recite Qiddush on other alcoholic beverages, even though wine was available in Poland in the 16th century. The Nahalat Sebi, an authority from Ukraine in the 17th century, explained that since the obligation to recite Qiddush again during the day is rabbinical, they are lenient and recite it on other alcoholic beverages, even though wine is available. The Magen Abraham, an authority from Poland during the 17th century, resolved the custom by explaining that since the daytime Qiddush is only a blessing on wine, and bread is also valid for Qiddush, so you also fulfill your obligation for Qiddush afterwards when you recite Hamotzi, especially if you prefer the bread over the wine. And therefore the blessing beforehand on the drink is just so it won't look like you are eating without reciting Qiddush, and therefore it's okay to be lenient with the drink itself and use another alcoholic beverage other than wine. The Mishnah Berurah quoted the Hayye Adam, an 18th century authority from Poland, who wrote that in a place where people prefer other alcoholic beverages over wine, they may use the other beverages even to begin with for the daytime Qiddush. Up until now, we have discussed the custom of the Ashkenazim, but what about the Syrian custom? Normally we follow the rulings of Maran, who in this case requires wine or grape juice for the daytime Qiddush, unless it's not available, in which case he permits using other alcoholic beverages. However, Hakam Yosef Yedid HaLevi, who was born in Halab in 1867 and later moved to Israel in 1890, wrote in his book Yemei Yosef Patra, on Shabbat day, I always recite Qiddush on Shechar, an alcoholic beverage, and then I eat something with it before beginning the meal. Furthermore, Rabbi Amram Abu Rabi', who was born in Morocco towards the end of the 19th century and moved to Israel at the age of 14, wrote in his book Netibei Am, the custom of the Sephardim in Jerusalem is to recite Qiddush on an alcoholic beverage, even though wine is available. And he explained that they did this because they made Qiddush after an early minyan before a dairy breakfast, where they preferred an alcoholic beverage over wine. Similarly, Rabbi Shlomo Antebi Saka wrote that the elders that came from Halab to Argentina would recite Qiddush on Arak, and that Hakam Yitzhak Sheher bar Alav Shalom used to recite Qiddush on beer and sometimes on whiskey. Hakam Yosef Shayo told me that his grandfather, Hakam Yosef Abadi Shayo Alav Shalom, brought a silver vessel with him from Halab to Jerusalem in the year 1935 that they used to fill with Arak for the daytime Qiddush, and they would pass the vessel around so that after everyone drank a little, it would add up to the minimum requirement of drinking a little more than an ounce and a half from the Qiddush cup. Likewise, Rabbi Amram Abu Rabi' specified that they filled a cup that held at least 3 ounces of liquid. But there are some authorities that were even lenient with the size of the cup and the amount that they drank from the Qiddush cup on Shabbat day. This is based on the opinion of the Turei Zahab, a 17th century authority from Ukraine, who wrote that with regards to reciting Borei Nefashot after a strong alcoholic beverage, that since people do not normally drink 3 ounces of a strong alcoholic beverage at once, that one should recite Borei Nefashot after the amount that one normally drinks of that type of beverage. So even though we don't follow that opinion with regards to reciting Borei Nefashot, since the other authorities disagree, and when there is a disagreement regarding reciting a blessing, we remain passive and do not recite it. But with regards to the daytime Qiddush, some were lenient to consider a small cup of a strong alcoholic beverage as the equivalent of 3 ounces of wine, and drink the amount that one normally drinks of that beverage, even though it's less than the normal requirement of more than 1.5 ounces. They did this since the daytime Qiddush is a rabbinical obligation, and one can rely on a lenient opinion for rabbinical obligations when a custom developed like the lenient opinion. The Pri Megadim, an 18th century authority from Ukraine, wrote that based on the opinion of the Turei Zahab regarding reciting a blessing after a small quantity of a strong alcoholic beverage, that we could recite the daytime Qiddush on that smaller quantity. The Hatam Sofer, another 18th century authority from Germany and Slovakia, followed the Pri Megadim in applying the opinion of the Turei Zahab to the daytime Qiddush. Both of these opinions were cited as the halakha by Harab Sebi Pesach Frank, a Lithuanian authority who moved to Israel at the end of the 19th century, in his responsa Har Sebi. But the Mishnah Berurah quoted the Hayei Adam, who did require using at least 3 ounces even for a strong alcoholic beverage, and drinking more than 1.5 ounces from the Qiddush cup, at the very least between several people. So while Maran requires one to use wine or grape juice for the daytime Qiddush, unless it was not available, the custom of many Ashkenazim is to use other alcoholic beverages even if wine or grape juice is available. Similarly, in Syria, they would recite the daytime Qiddush on arak or other alcoholic beverages, and this custom continued in Argentina, New York, and in other Syrian Jewish communities around the world. This was also the custom of the Sephardim in Jerusalem as well. Many were careful to use at least 3 ounces, even when reciting Qiddush on a strong alcoholic beverage, and to drink more than 1.5 ounces from the Qiddush cup, at least between several people. However, some were lenient to recite the daytime Qiddush even on less than 3 ounces, and to drink the amount that one normally drinks of a strong alcoholic beverage, based on the opinion of several authorities. All of these leniencies may only be applied to the daytime Qiddush. On Friday night, one may not recite Qiddush on alcoholic beverages other than wine. One must use at least 3 ounces of wine or grape juice, and one person must drink more than 1.5 ounces from the Qiddush cup.